Sunday, April 19th, 2020. The weather's transitioning from winter to spring. The current time in Boston is 2:28 p.m., Minneapolis 1:29 p.m., Manila 2:30 a.m., and Minsk 9:32 p.m. From now on, going to start with the latest numbers from Worldometer. 2,389,924 people have been infected around the globe. 164,246 have died from the disease. 613,881 have recovered. 21% death rate. The rest are open cases awaiting an outcome. Now picking up where we left off in the last blog. Started watching CNN coverage of the coronavirus. One topic of discussion happens to be about a drug for malaria that President Trump said might help people suffering from the pandemic. They want to rush approval through the FDA. CNN, Democrats, are upset that they are going to rush this drug through the FDA. They want regular clinical trials. There's no mention of people having investments in the company that makes this drug, or of other possible remedies that could use approval from the FDA to help people suffering from COVID-19. Those of you that read this know what I'm about, and can guess where we're going with this. CBD. Of course, the President of the United States can make claims of a cure for coronavirus without penalty. Yet during this time, former NFL player Kyle Turley got threatened by the FDA about making claims that CBD can help fight the coronavirus. He actually stepped down as CEO of a CBD company so that he could speak freely without jeopardizing others in the industry. Added CNN anchor Don Lemon to my Facebook page and sent him a link about the Kyle Turley story from a recent LA Times article. Believe me, the LA Times is as far as this story goes. East Coast biased and hemp cracked down from Big Pharma for real. Don Lemon hasn't covered the story on his show. They continue to talk about this malaria drug made in a lab that most likely cost someone their retirement for a cure to the coronavirus that could be a military-grade chemical weapon. However, Don Lemon did have Dr. Sanjay Gupta share the death of 13-year-old Charlotte Fiji. For those of you that don't know, she suffered from seizures and made CBD a household name as a cure for this ailment. Many people suffering seizures have been healed by the natural wonders of CBD that can be grown at home by everyday citizens for a minimal fee and plays into this new reality of social distancing. Must admit, this report from Dr. Gupta is the first time I'd heard of her passing, nearly a week after the fact. Yet it does come off as a veiled threat in and of itself. CNN, Democrats, are in an election year to win back the White House. Only this whole mess keeps the hemp revolution conspiracy theory alive and well, even more so now that it's legal. CNN, the Democrats, Fox News, Republicans, and President Trump all get their money and power from the northeast corner of the United States. They all get paid by the same major corporations. And while they talk about freedom, they continually erode our personal independence to make us dependent on these large companies that pollute the environment. One positive side effect of coronavirus, that's been talked about lightly, is the significant decrease of climate change pollution from limiting human activity. A paradox, all agree that we must listen to the scientists to fight COVID-19, yet ignore the scientists when it comes to climate change. Plus, no one has announced that the two are connected. Climate change breeds viruses like COVID-19, and that a long-term strategy must include back-to-the-earth economic recovery like the hemp industry. Yet as these thoughts might sink into the consciousness of the average American, protests begin with people wanting to go back to work, no matter what. Political pressure from CNN and Fox builds on going back to the status quo now, before a rehaul can occur that people have been demanding for years. Even President Trump, who paved the way for this new green, sustainable economy that would protect the population from future pandemics and help us get past this one, remains blind to this idea and continues to eschew his chance for a greatest American president mug by berating the press and calling for protesters to continue to apply pressure on Democrat governors who are trying to save lives. Remember, this is a Hunter S. Thompson-style blog, and these thoughts are my own. Yet this country is a mess, and this pandemic exposes Americans' debt. People can't stay at home because they have no savings. Not having money is as good as being dead. People are willing to go back to polluting jobs that destroy the environment through the emission of fossil fuels, just to hang on for another generation or two. If the Chinese did release COVID-19 as a chemical weapon, then it's working beautifully. Hemp revolution. People always said that hemp remained illegal because it threatened the status quo corporations with a cheaper, superior product that opened the door for average Americans to cash in on the action. This idea continues to be relevant even after legalization. The hemp economy already crashed because of FDA regulations imposed during the harvest of the first legal crop in like 80 years. Lots of businesses went down. Average hemp farmers forced to destroy their crops, and the ones that made it were faced with prices going down as the market dried up. They made it legal, all right. Then, this pandemic and a big pharma cure to be rushed through the FDA to make the rich richer with their $1.7 million stimulus checks. Everyone else got $1,200 and a crop that could help them fight this disease marginalized. People don't even die from CBD overdose. It only cured a girl from seizures, and because it didn't cure her from coronavirus, then it's no good. Unfortunately, this all has to play out. The dream would be that CBD works, the FDA approves it too, millions of farmers in America can make a living, and we become healthier people that respect the earth and can concentrate on space exploration. The reality is that the status quo continues to lead us. Millions of more people are going to die, and if not from this pandemic, then the next one. That's if the tides don't stop from plastic pollution, or the atmosphere heats up from car exhaust, or we don't start a nuclear war for oil wells. As the last people die in a post-apocalyptic nightmare, standing alone on a landscape of barren desert with extreme heat, their dying words could be, "Why didn't the FDA look into CBD